Hey guys, this is me President. I want to bring you a video about the 5 biggest problems I found with Star Wars Force Awakens. Now, this movie was a good movie. Most people liked it. It was more like the original Star Wars, and it had good acting and brought back Han Solo, Princess Leia, even Luke for a moment. But there were still certain problems with the movie that I feel like many people would have overlooked. And I know I'm going to get flack for saying this, but before I list my 5, which I must say are just my personal opinion, I have to say that there were certain things I enjoyed more about the prequels than I did about Force Awakens. Having said that, number 5, the environments. See, Star Wars has always done something that I've really enjoyed. From the originals to the prequels. They have made sets that don't look like they're on Earth. You go to the moon of Endor, you go to Hoth, Tatooine, Coruscant. These planets don't look like they're on Earth. They look and feel like you're on a different planet. And I think that is extremely important in any sci-fi movie where they go to different planets. I think one of the biggest things is to make it not feel like Earth. And that's what Star Wars has always done for me in the past. Herein lies the problem with Force Awakens. Too much of the scenery looks too much like Earth. I mean, you go to Starkiller, and it just looks like a forest with trees, regular trees. You go to the planet where Rey has the Force vision, it looks like just almost a regular Earth place with a castle. Most of the planets that they visited in this series just to me looked too much like they were still on Earth, in my opinion. And to me, that's a big part of Star Wars, because watching Star Wars, you look at Bespin, you look at Geonosis, you look at Dagobah. Most of these planets don't look like they're on Earth. They look like foreign planets. And that's one of the things I enjoyed about Star Wars a lot. So for me, Force Awakens, the sets, the environment just didn't cut it. Number 3, Kylo Ben. Now here is only a problem if you have any knowledge of the expanded universe. In the expanded universe, Han Solo and Leia's son was named Jason, right? Luke's son was named Ben. However, in this version of Star Wars, Han and Leia's son is named Ben. Now, why would they do that? If they're going to take the whole Han son turning to the dark side story from the books, why would they change his name? It may be a small thing to some things, but to me, this means a bigger thing down the road, because see, if you know Jason's story, which I won't actually spoil, but it's actually, based on what I've seen, a pretty good story. But with Luke's son being called Ben in the books, and with Han's son being called Ben in the movies, it makes me think that what they're going to do is they're going to actually combine the two stories, and we're going to have a different story altogether. Now, that's not a bad thing, but still, to Star Wars fans, not having, because this makes me think that we won't have Luke's son. Luke's son will not be a factor. Luke doesn't have a son. And to me, that takes away something from the story. To me, just completely erasing Luke's spin from the whole Star Wars universe, it's a faux pas. They should have still called him Jason, because that would at least left room for maybe Ben appearing later on. Because to me, just removing that character as a whole, it's just something I don't think they should have done. Number 2, Jakku. This is a big one. What was the point of the planet Jakku? There was almost no point of it. Why? Because it was Tatooine. That's what it was. Don't even joke. It had the same culture, the same atmosphere. I mean, it was Tatooine. There was no point of them naming it Jakku. In fact, when my cousin came out of the theater, he was like, wait a minute, they weren't on Tatooine? He literally thought they were on Tatooine. What was the point of having a whole new planet any different from Tatooine? See, one thing I like about the Star Wars universe is that even though it has so many planets, most of them aren't just blatant copies of others. You have Coruscant, you have Hoth, you have Naboo. All these planets have their own culture, they have their own environments and stuff like that. Jakku was just Tatooine. Not even 2.0, it was just Tatooine. And why do I think it happened? What I think happened is that they literally shot that whole planet thinking they were on Tatooine, right? And then after they were done shooting all that stuff, they decided to call a different planet name. Why? Because, let's face it, this movie reminded us a lot of Episode 4, and I didn't think they wanted to be a completely copy of Episode 4. So like, okay, they don't start off on Tatooine. They start off on Jakku. What's the difference between that and Tatooine? Nothing, but it's a different name. Anyway, speaking of Episode 4, number 1. This movie, to me, was like Episode 4 reboot. That's what it seemed like. I mean, you start off on Jakku, which is Tatooine, basically, and you escape Jakku with the Millennium Falcon. Sound familiar? Then you have Death Star's big brother. And how do you destroy it? By sending little one-man fighters in to destroy it. Sound familiar again? This movie, even though the acting was much improved from the prequels, obviously, the story wasn't bad, but the fact that so much of it was just taken from Episode 4, I'm not gonna call it lazy, because it seems like J.J. Abrams was trying to just bring back what they had from the original Star Wars, but come on, continue the story. Don't retell it with different characters. Well, those are my 5 biggest problems with Force Awakens. Now, why don't you guys tell me yours in the comments below, whether you agree with me, whether you think I'm wrong about all this, whether you think Force Awakens was the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and may God bless you all.